Thanks for joining me on Global News in Zuma, Nigeria. We begin with Southeast Asia. Myanmar junta says northern conflict divisive. Israel Mossad holds Brazil terror plot. US strikes suspected Iran-linked site. United Nations accuses Israel Hamas of war crimes. And Israel ramps up Gaza offensive. Thousands flee. Stay with me for these and more stories. Myung Sue appointed as Myanmar's president after the coup has cautioned this month's gains by an alliance of ethnic groups in areas neighboring China risks breaking the country apart in the military regime's first acknowledgement of the challenge it is facing. A powerful ethnic armed grouping, the Three Brotherhood Alliance, launched a coordinated attack on dozen military outposts in the northern Shan state along the country's eastern border with China on October 26th, capturing the border town of Shinshuohua. On November 7th, updates said the alliance continued to increase ground and have taken control of more military posts, seizing weapons and military equipment. The military had reacted by sending in fighter jets to bomb the area, it said. The offensive is the most severe test for the generals since they seized power in February 2021 from the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi. It has also energized the civilian People's Defense Forces that have been fighting for months, sometimes alongside ethnic armed groups, to overturn the coup, with fighting reported in other parts of the country. According to Myung Sue at the National Defense and Security Council meeting in the capital, New Puntua, if the government does not effectively manage the incidents happening in the border region, the country will be split into various parts. It is necessary to carefully control this issue. Report said coup leader Senior General Mi En-Leung had opened the meeting, saying the military had successfully regained control of the situation after dealing a significant blow to the MNDAA, Myanmar National Democracy Alliance Army. Citing Min Aung, the report said the MNDAA had suffered a large number of casualties. The MNDAA is one of many groups within the alliance, which also includes the Tang National Liberation Army (TNLA) and Arakan Army (AA). The members of the alliance said they had increased the offensive to eliminate oppressive military dictatorship as well as to put an end to the booming business of cyber scamming. Beijing has also been putting pressure on the military to crack down on crimes in the border area, and China's Minister of Public Secretary Wang Zhonghong visited Myanmar days after the fighting erupted amidst fears about the rise in violence. The instability in Shan State and the rest of Myanmar has also led to a boom in the illegal drugs trade. Now, Brazilian police have said they detained two people alleged of preparing for terrorist attacks which Israel suspected were being organized by the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. The Mossad intelligence agency, in a statement late on Wednesday, said it provided assistance to Brazil in the arrest of a terrorist cell that was operated by Hezbollah in order to carry out a raid on Israeli and Jewish targets in Brazil. It added that other international agencies were also involved in the operation, but did not make mention of them. Brazil's federal police said they had detained two suspects in Sao Paulo in an operation to disrupt the preparation of terrorist attacks and secure evidence on the possible recruitment of Brazilians to carry out extremist acts in the country. They also conducted 11 search and seizure raids in Sao Paulo, Brasilia, and the southeastern state of Minas Gerais. Police said in a statement it did not name the suspects or the alleged targets. The Mossad said the planned attacks were part of an extensive network that operated in additional countries, although it did not name them. Security experts have long tracked alleged Hezbollah activities in the border areas between Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. The Iran-backed groups based in Lebanon, where it has seats in parliament and the government. Given the backdrop of the war in Gaza, Hezbollah and the Iranian regime are continuing to operate around the world in order to attack Israeli, Jewish, and Western targets, added that the Mossad statement, which was published on the website of the Israeli Prime Minister. On October 7th, the Israel-Gaza war erupted after the armed group Hamas, which is allied with Hezbollah and controls Gaza, killed at least 1,400 people in southern Israel and took over 200 captives. Israel declared war on Hamas and since subjected Gaza to relentless bombardment, killing over 10,000 people and disregarding calls for humanitarian ceasefire. Around 107,000 Jewish people live in Brazil, and community leaders said, according to a report, that last month that they had noticed an increase in anti-Semitic activity online since the conflict erupted. Ricardo Berkenzat, executive president of the Jewish Federation of the state of Sao Paulo, said, "We're following with apprehension and concern this federal police operation today. Brazil doesn't have a history of terrorism, and we hope that the conflict in the Middle East isn't imported over to this place." Brazil has the second largest Jewish community in Latin America after Argentina. Around 250,000 Jewish people live in Argentina, which was hit by attacks on the Israeli embassy in 1992 and a Jewish center in Buenos Aires in 1994. Some 114 people were killed in those very events. In eastern Syria, the United States has raided an alleged weapon storage facility it deemed was being used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, and Iran-backed groups. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, in a statement on Wednesday, said that the self-defense strike was carried out by two of the Air Force's F-15 fighters in response to recent attacks on U.S. forces. The president has no higher priority than the safety of U.S. personnel, and he directed today's action to make clear that the United States would defend itself, its personnel, and its interests, said the statement. Amidst growing tensions since the Israel-Hamas war erupted on October 7th, Washington has said its troops and their allies have been attacked at least 40 times in Iraq and Syria by Iran-backed forces, with 45 servicemen suffering traumatic brain injuries or minor wounds. The Pentagon last month said the U.S. hit two RGC and Iran-linked facilities in Syria following attacks on U.S. personnel. In Wednesday's statement, Austin urged an end to the attacks. The United States is fully prepared to take further necessary measures to protect our people and our facilities. We urge against any escalation, he said. The United States has 900 troops in Syria and 2,500 more in Iraq on a mission to advise and help local forces trying to stop a resurgence of ISIS, which in 2014 seized control of large swaths of both countries before it was eventually defeated. The U.S. has said its strikes are not associated with Israel-Hamas war amidst fears about regional escalation of the chaos. Iran backs both Hamas, which has governed Gaza since 2006, and the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah, which has been engaged in battles with Israel along the Israel-Lebanon border. Now, Volker Turk, the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner, has accused both Israel and Hamas of war crimes, citing the continued holding of hostages by Hamas and what he called Israel's collective punishment of Palestinian civilians, its illegal compulsory evacuations of parts of Gaza. Meanwhile, United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres says the number of civilians killed in Gaza shows something is clearly wrong with Israel's military operation. Israel says 50,000 Palestinians left the Gaza City area on Wednesday after its military opened up the major road to southern Gaza. A military spokesperson said people were fleeing because Hamas has lost control of the north. Israel for weeks has told people in the north of Gaza to head south, saying it is safer, though Hamas-run authorities reported airstrikes on Wednesday in both the north and the south. The Israeli Prime Minister also on Wednesday dismissed false rumors after reports that a proposal to release 12 hostages in exchange for a 3-day humanitarian pause is under discussion. Israel started striking Gaza after the Hamas attack on 7th October, which saw 1,400 people killed and over 200 taken hostage. According to the Hamas-run health ministry, over 10,500 people have been killed in Gaza since, including more than 4,300 children. Both sides in the conflict in Gaza and Israel have committed war crimes, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has said. Speaking Wednesday at the Rafah border crossing, Volker Turk said the atrocities that were perpetrated by Palestinian armed groups on the 7th of October were heinous, brutal, and shocking. They were war crimes as it is continued holding hostages, adding that they were war crimes as is in the continued holding of hostages. The collective punishment by Israel of Palestinian civilians amounts also to war crimes, as does the unlawful forcible evacuation of civilians. Domestic bombardments by Israel has killed, maimed, and injured in particular women, and children. Turk described the bombardment of the Gaza Strip as putting an unbearable toll on human lives on civilians. Still on Gaza, Israel war on Wednesday, several Palestinians fled northern Gaza, joining miles on foot through the battered enclave in an increasing exodus stoked by Israel's increased ground and air campaign. Streams of people, women, children, the elderly and disabled made their way down to Salah Eden Street, one of the two north-south highways in Gaza, along an evacuation corridor announced by the Israel Defense Forces. One teenage girl compared the mass movement to the Nakba, or catastrophe, the Arabic term for the expulsion of Palestinians from their towns during the founding of Israel. It was the fifth day in a row that the IDF opened an evacuation window, and numbers of people fleeing south have soared each day. The United Nations said 2,000 have fled south on Sunday, growing to 15,000 on Tuesday. The Israeli government said 50,000 Gazans traveled via the evacuation corridor on Wednesday. That number could not be independently verified, but reports said the numbers leaving were larger than on Tuesday. Israel has been adding up its offensive inside Gaza following the October 7th attacks that left 1,400 people in Israel dead. On Tuesday, Yoav Gallant, Israeli defense minister, claimed that IDF troops were at the heart of Gaza City and aiming Hamas infrastructure and commanders there. It is unclear where exactly Israel is fighting. Gaza is the biggest terror stronghold that mankind has ever built. This whole city is one big terror base. Underground, they have kilometers of tunnels connecting to hospitals and schools. Gallant said, "We continue to dismantle this capability." The IDF has been bombarding Gaza for weeks, saying it hit 14,000 terrorist targets in the densely crowded territory, moved several times, but that it was impossible to escape the air strikes. More stories on weather and climate. Unusual blizzard disrupts China. Remarkably early heavy snowfall covered swaths of northeastern China this week, forcing airlines to cancel flights, suspending trains and closing schools and roads in the country's first major blizzard of the season. The first snowfall in northeast China usually takes place between late November and early December, a chief weather forecast from China's National Meteorological Center has said. On Tuesday, China's northmost province, Heilongjiang, the railway operator stopped 51 passenger trains due to the snowstorm. Harbin, the provincial capital, cancelled over 400 flights at its international airports on Monday, while some smaller airports in the province cancelled all flights. School, kindergartens, and off-campus training institutions in most parts of Harbin were halted on Monday and Tuesday, reports said. On Monday, authorities are probing the city of Jammusi after a gymnasium collapsed amidst a snowstorm, killing 3 students who were stuck inside, according to reports. 7 middle school students were playing basketball at the sports club when the roof collapsed on them, reports said. These 3 escaped while 4 others were stuck, according to more reports. The reason of the collapse remains under investigation. The gym was finished in 2018 and passed a safety inspection in 2020, according to reports. This is the second gymnasium collapse in Heilongjiang in recent months. In July, 11 people died after days of heavy rain. The roof of a school gym in Kikihar City collapsed onto a student volleyball team. The 2 events have stoked public anger and raised questions over the quality and safety of constructions. Harbin issued a red blizzard alert, the highest in China's 4-tier warning system, on Sunday and Monday. On Monday, in the neighboring province of Jilin, over 200 expressway entrances were shut due to heavy snowfall. China's national weather forecaster issued an orange blizzard alert, the second highest level after red on Saturday, and renewed it on Monday for parts of Jilin, Heilongjiang, and Inner Mongolia. The alert was lifted on Tuesday. Moving now to Africa. In Egypt, peace boat passengers urges Gaza ceasefire. Peace activists journeying the world on a cruise ship called the Peace Boat stopped at Port Said on Egypt on Wednesday to call for an instant ceasefire in Gaza. The ship, also known as Pacific World, is a 77,000-ton passenger ship owned by Japan-based luxury cruise operator and non-governmental organization Peace Boat. A giant banner with the word "Stop Killing Gaza" hung from the deck of the ship as the activists continued to chant "Free Gaza" and "Save Gaza." The peace boat is trying to claim that what is happening right now in Gaza is clearly against the international law. So we obviously want to keep the message that we stand with the people who are affected. We stand with the people, especially the children, peace boat staff Anna Gotin said. Numerous of Palestinians have run in south from Gaza City on foot, and some cases carrying nothing but the clothes on their back. The Israeli army has told Palestinians in the north, where it is fighting Hamas militants, to relocate to the south. With supplies of food, water, fuel, and electricity cuts, surviving has become a challenge for most Palestinians living in the Gaza Strip. They have also suffered telecommunications blackouts. Israel's prime minister promised to destroy Hamas after the militant group carried the deadliest attack in the country on October 7th that killed 1,400 people, while some 200 others, including children, were abducted by the militants. The Israeli military reaction in Gaza has included airstrikes and a ground offensive. For a month, Palestinians have been living under persistent bombardment by the Israeli military, which has aimed hospitals, refugee camps, mosques, churches, and United Nations facilities, according to the United Nations Secretary General. The airstrikes have killed more than 10,300 Palestinians, two-thirds of them women and minors. Over 2,300 are believed to be buried from strikes that reduced the whole city blocks to rubble. Now we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, more stories from Nigeria. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back. Now on Zuma Nigeria, Tinubu approves 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budgets. President Bola Tinubu has signed the 2.7 trillion naira supplementary budget into law. Remember, last Thursday, the Senate and the House of Representatives passed the 2.17 trillion naira 2023 supplementary appropriation bill after a third reading. President Tinubu had written to the National Assembly looking for approval of the sum of 2.17 trillion naira as the 2023 supplementary budget to tackle labor wage adjustments, security, and more. The president had said the supplementary bill was needed for added palliative measures, including wage awards. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, chaired by the president on Monday, approved the 2023 supplementary budget of 2.1 trillion naira. Present at the signing are the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Speaker, House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, Senate Leader Senator Akpeyemi Bamidele, Chairman Senate Committee on Finance Senator Olamilokon Adiola, Chairman House of Representatives Committee on Finance Abubakar Bichi. Others are Secretary to the Government of the Federation George Akume, Minister of Budget Atiku Bagudu, and Chairman Federal Inland Revenue Services Zax Adedeji. On electoral matters, tension rises ahead of Bayelsa Kogi Imo polls. With just about 48 hours to the November 11th gubernatorial polls in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states, the National Peace Committee (NPC), led by ex-head of state General Abdulsalami Abubakar, has called for peaceful demeanor during the off-season elections in these three states. The call came amidst rising tensions in the various states and as candidates of the participating political parties signed the peace accord organized by NPC, a non-governmental organization. The candidates vowed to ensure peaceful behavior before, during, and after the polls. Signing of the peace accord, called Abuja Accord, before major elections in the country has become a permanent political ritual since it was introduced in 2014 by some distinguished citizens and elder statesmen in reaction to rising threats occasioned by 2015 general election. In Imo State, however, the candidates of People's Democratic Party (PDP), Labour Party (LP), and All Progressives Congress (APC) ignored the peace accord. The ceremony, which took place at Bayland Swiss International Hotel, Owerri, was attended by closely all the 17 political parties endorsed by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for the election. But the leading governorship candidates, Governor Hope Uzodinma of APC, Senator Sam Anyanwu of PDP, and Senator Ethan Ochonu of LP, all sent their party state chairman and deputy governorship candidates, but they were turned back as one of the rules of engagement is that only the governorship candidates can sign the accord, not their proxies. Earlier, before the actual signing ceremony started, Anyanwu showed up, but when he noticed that his counterparts from APC and LP were absent, he left the venue. General Martin Luther Agwai, in his remarks, who represented the MPC chairman, said the candidates that shown the exercise had till Friday, the eve of the elections, to visit the office of the MPC and sign the document. The exercise was witnessed by Deputy Inspector General of Police Frank Mba and INEC National Commissioner for Southeast Kenneth Ikego. And finally on the news, Emefiele granted bail by court. A High Court sitting at Maitama in Abuja had granted bail to the detained former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele. In his order on Wednesday, Justice Olukayode Adeniyi held that he should be released to his lawyers. There must be an end to detention without trial, the judge held, stressing that it was the refusal of the Economic and Financial and Crimes Commission, EFCC, to comply with the order the court made on November 2nd that led to the ruling. Also, the court held that it could not let Emefiele to remain in custody owing to claim of the federal government that he would, on November 15th, be arraigned on a new charge. It held that the claim was hypothetical, as there was nothing to create that the planned arraignment will hold as scheduled. More so, the court noted that a supposed remand order that FG's lawyer tendered before it was signed by an Abuja Chief Magistrate bore contradictory dates. A very crucial factor that this court cannot overlook is the applicant's claim that he has been incarcerated for a period of upward of 151 days without trial, Justice Adeniyi added. He held that Section 298, subsection 2 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA 2015, empowered the court to make necessary orders even when there is custody order against an applicant. Thus, the court directed that Emefiele should be released to a team of 3 senior advocates of Nigeria's sons that represented him in the matter. It held that the lawyers should produce him in court on November 15 for his planned arraignment or at any other date that is needed to appear in court. Justice Adeniyi directed Emefiele to submit all his international documents to the most senior registrar of the court pending his arraignment. It subsequently adjourned further proceedings in the matter till November 17th. The ruling followed a fundamental rights enforcement suit that the erstwhile CBN boss, who has been in detention for about 5 months, filed through his team of lawyers led by Matthew Bulka-San. Cited as respondents in the suit marked FCT-HC-CV-040-2023 are the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, as well as the Anti-Graft Agency itself. It will be recalled that President Bola Tinubu had on June 9th suspended Emefiele from office as the head of the Apex Bank. He was later arrested at his Lagos residence by the Department of State Services, DSS. To refresh our memories, Myanmar junta says northern conflict divisive. Israel Mossad holds Brazil terror plot. U.S. strikes suspected Iran-linked site. United Nations accuses Israel Hamas of war crimes. Israel ramps up Gaza offensive and thousands flee. That's all on the news. Thanks for watching. I am Lois Strike.